Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Final Bet. It might be the middle of the summer, but we've got a ton of things to talk about in the sports world. The Saints just wrapped up minicamp. LSU there in Omaha seeking another national championship. It will be number 8. To break it all down, we bring in Garland Gillen. Are you bummed that the Saints are off for the next 6 weeks? It's a good thing, bad thing. The good thing is in 6 weeks, it gets real. It gets real. And I enjoyed covering the Saints at minicamp. Got really hot on Tuesday. Yeah. They took Thursday off. Thank you, Coach Kellen Moore. I hope they enjoyed hanging out at 504. And I need the 6 weeks, Juan. Yeah, you need the 6 weeks. Yes, okay, you about to take a couple of vacations. Yeah. I need a little vacation. But then, Juan, it makes you hungry when you get back from that vacation. You're ready for football, okay? I think when you step away from ball and then go back to it, you get kind of fired up again. I definitely I will enjoy this 6 weeks, but I'm not getting away from football, okay? Like, you know, I've been to Tulane football press. I'm gonna do some 7-on-7 high school football next week. Like, ball will continue, but everybody needs a little break, including the players on the black and gold. No doubt about that. No doubt about that. All right, let's get to tonight's opening line. Black and gold minicamp recap. Outlook for New Orleans this season, and how about LSU in Omaha seeking another title? Minicamp was only 2 days this week, but the third day they spent at our neighbors 504 Golf. First off, how about the quarterback battle? That's been the big talk in minicamp so far this year. Well, it's just so hard to get like a major gauge of like who's winning this battle. Too early. Too early. All they've done is 7-on-7. Where it's just linebackers and cornerbacks and safeties. And the completions percentage is very high for both of these guys, and Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler. Defensive linebackers can't blitz and scare the you-know-what out of these quarterbacks there. So they're just sitting back there, hanging out, just picking apart the defenses. First day, maybe Shough had a little advantage because Spencer Rattler threw a pick to Jonas Sanker. Second day, Spencer Rattler in red zone drills threw 3 touchdown passes. Dante Pettis Jr. and Chris Olave scored, but he also almost threw a pick, Spencer Rattler. Tyler Shough didn't throw interceptions either day, didn't throw as many touchdowns as Spencer Rattler, so maybe give Rattler a little edge. But Juan, I think they're neck and neck. Which, if you're in the Tyler Shough boat, you got to be excited. Yeah. He's a rookie, and he's already nose-to-nose with Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler has a year ahead of him in the NFL. Obviously, different system last year with Clint Kubiak into the system Kellen Moore has this season. But when you keep going back and forth, you can't really say, oh, this guy's number 1, this guy's number 2. I will say this. If it continues like this, then you got to give the edge to Tyler Shough. This is the guy they drafted. This is going to be the future of the team. I think this is who they wanted as a starting quarterback. I think it's going to be a fair competition. But Spencer Rattler, I think, has to prove one above and beyond that he's the dude going through these training camp practices and these preseason games. I will follow up on that because I kind of agree with you that if it's even at the end of training camp, that it's probably advantage to Tyler Shough because he is the draft pick. But where I would say maybe not is because between those two guys, only one of them has NFL playing experience. And so do you trust your rookie going into that first game with no experience, first game of the season, or do you give the ball to the guy who has at least played in an NFL game, knows what it feels like on game day, hasn't won a game in the NFL, so they both have that in common? That's why I would say I'm wondering what Kellen Moore's thought process is going to be on that when it comes down to deciding who gets that game 1 start. Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to come down to training camp, which they announced on Thursday. Part of it's going to be in California. They're going back to Irvine. I don't know if we're going to go this time. You and I won. Really loved it the last time there. Enjoyed California very much so. I hope for the Saints' sake and for the media and the fans that there's a clear-cut favorite going in out of training camp, when they put the full pads on, when they put the 3 preseason games all on Fox 8 on. I hope there's a true leader in there. I just don't think there's a lot of expectations this season. So if you think that Tyler Shough is your long-term solution at quarterback and it's not Spencer Rattler, got drafted in the 5th round, might as well go with your long-term solution. with this team.
I think one thing we do know is once they get to California, work out with a team there, a lot of the quarterbacks always say, I remember Drew Brees saying this, I got more out of those games against another opponent in practice than I did out of the preseason games, mainly because Brees hardly played in the preseason. Yeah. But these preseason games this year, it's going to be interesting to see how Kellen Moore does his lineup each game. It feels like both quarterbacks will get plenty of time in the first two games and maybe into the third to decide it.
Yeah. You make good points there. They're going to definitely throw both those guys out there. Kellen Moore did actually clarify that they're just going to California to work with themselves.
Yeah, right now.
Right now, yeah. They're not going to be going against the Chargers and doing dual training camp practices, which I was a little surprised about. But, yeah, so they're going to do front end, the game, and then stay on the back end for a few practices after that. At least we know it's a two-man race. Jake Haener strained his oblique. He's going slowly back. So it's pretty safe to assume it's going to be these two guys. Yeah. We're gonna be dissecting this every day, Juan. Every day at training camp. I know we got a training camp show on Gulf Coast every day for an hour. So we are going to be dissecting the daylights out of this.
Yeah, and then the question also remains, will this team go out and find themselves a veteran quarterback if they don't see a lot that they like over the course of the next month and a half of training camp? If they're not, the coaching staff is not happy, when they go out there and get them a veteran quarterback that can come in here and possibly give relief until those guys are ready to go.
If Jake Haener isn't healthy by the start of training camp, then that could be a concern. Yeah. He's slowly coming back along. He's got a strained oblique. They got Hunter Deckers also. If they can't figure that out, that injury situation, then yes, I think they might bring in another guy. But if he's ready to go, Jake Haener is a third-string option. Yeah. And also, Kellen Moore opened the window up that Taysom Hill will play some quarterback if he's back healthy also. So there's another quarterback possibility for some plays. We do not know when Taysom Hill is going to return. He at least showed up for minicamp. He wasn't there for any of the OTAs. He does his off-season conditioning in Utah. He was out there. So if you got Taysom possibly coming back, Jake Haener's healthy, you got Deckers, obviously you got Tyler Shough and Spencer Rattler, then you got 4 quarterbacks in camp, and you got a 5th guy that you're going to use during the season.
I just said if you got 5 quarterbacks, you got 9. All right, meanwhile, yesterday one of the guys we talked to and been waiting to talk to is Chris Olave. He talked extensively about his concussion situation. Of course, he had 2 last season. The second one basically knocked him out for the rest of the season. Is he ready for 2025? Mentally, physically?
He said that going to those practices on the back end of last season after getting a second concussion, I think we all know that he wasn't going to play last season. But to get back out there, he thought that was very important. He's got a clean bill of health. He's had 5 concussions documented since 2020. That is a lot of concussions. He missed a lot of time last season because of those concussions. I think it personally is a concern. He's in the 4th year of his contract. Got 1 more year after that. I think the Saints are going to wait to go through this season to see what they're going to do with Olave's contract, because a lot of Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, those guys got big money, new contracts.
But those guys also stayed on the field too.
Yeah. But I think the market's so overblown right now with the wide receivers and how much money they're getting. I don't think the Saints want to wade into those waters unless they guaranteed one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL.
Yeah, Olave is going to be good as long as he can stay on the field, but that's the biggest question with him. Trevor Penning makes the move from the right side of the offensive line over there on the end, coming to left guard, and it seems like he is a happy camper at that position.
Yeah, Eric McCoy said all the right things in the locker room yesterday when we talked to him about Trevor Penning. He's a big dude, playing him at left guard. He does not have a contract going forward after this season. I thought that Dylan Radunz was going to get some work at left guard and possibly challenge him. Right now, it seems like it's going to be Trevor Penning at left guard. And this is it. Juan, make or break. Yeah. If he does bad this season, you'll never see Trevor Penning in a black and gold uniform again. This is more of a prove it with the New Orleans Saints. They didn't pick up the 5th-year option, so if he doesn't do well, he's gone. If he does well, then they bring him back, give him a new contract, and they found their left guard for the next, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, one thing that Trevor Penning has done for himself, because he's shown that he can play so many different positions along the offensive line, except for center. Maybe he can play that too, but he will be a marketable piece for other NFL teams if he doesn't make it here in New Orleans going forward. Biggest concern for the black and gold as they get set to go into training camp?
It's got to be cornerback position.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid McKinstry alleviated my concerns a little bit. He almost had an interception yesterday. He ripped away a pass from Cedric Wilson that I thought he was going to catch. So if you got Kool-Aid McKinstry on one side, Quincy Riley slowly coming back, the draftee out of Louisville. You got Isaac Yiadom, and if you can maybe put those guys on the outside, then you can put Alontae Taylor at nickel corner in the middle. I think he's more effective nickel corner. They like him on the outside, but if he plays nickel corner, he can blitz. And I think he did a really good job last season on sacking the quarterback. So you need I think Kool-Aid can lock himself in on one side. What's going to be on the other? It's going to be Isaac Yiadom. It's going to be Quincy Riley. So that is something to watch. Maybe they get Asante Samuel Jr. in July. That can really prop up the cornerback room. But right now, with that roster, cornerback is my biggest concern for the black and gold.
Yeah, I don't feel good about Isaac Yiadom being in such a critical role so high up the depth chart. Feels like to me he's like a second or third guy, mainly to be used on special teteams or in a nickel package. But I feel like I agree with you. That's a position they're going to have to address once we get into training camp and teams start letting players go. When I don't know how long ago it's been, let's say a month. We were talking about the Saints being 5.5 wins. That was the over-under. Has that changed for you at all?
Well, it hasn't changed in Vegas, and I believe that that's fair. I think that's where it should be. There's just so many concerns on defense right now.
Yeah.
What does Brandon Staley's defense look like with Cam Jordan on the outside, like trying to guard a running back or going out in coverage, coming off the edge, Carl Granderson, Chase Young? I don't know what those guys are going to look like in this defense. I already voiced my concerns at cornerback. Linebacker, they got some depth, not a great amount of depth. Obviously, we have an issue on the offensive line, still maybe with Trevor Penning. Who's behind Alvin Kamara? Running back. Wide receiver room, I think, needs to add another weapon with the big three receivers missing 27 games last season. So you put all that together, Juan, and people perceive that this to be the worst quarterback room in the NFL. I don't know if I believe
Certainly
that.
Probably the youngest, no doubt.
Yes. Tyler Shough could be going with a rookie that will be 26-year-old when the season starts. I understand why it's at 5.5. And when we do our over-under win totals and we pick a record for the season, Jeff Duncan does that column usually in August, and he gets your thoughts and my thoughts and Sean Vazan's thoughts. I'm probably going to have him right at 5-12, probably, or 6-11. It's going to be right there. So Vegas's job is to get money on both sides, and I think 5.5 is a good spot because ESPN bet started at 4.5 and it rocketed up to 5.5 quickly. It was at 4.5 for a small period of time, rocketed up to 5.5. So I think this is a middle ground where you can get some good bets on both sides.
About 30 seconds. Why should Saints fans be excited about this season?
Because they don't expect, at least most of us don't expect them to go to the playoffs, okay? And if there's at least some hope and you're running a lot of guys that are in their second, third years of their contracts, you give them a little hope, that's good going forward. We don't expect this team to win the Super Bowl this year. There's not any talk of that for Mickey Loomis and those guys. So if they do go 5-12, but Tyler Shough looks promising, and you get Chris Olave has a strong season, you got some young guys out there, then you could have something for the future. So we're not expecting the playoffs this year. So if they give us a little hope, little hope.
Yep. All right, we'll leave it there with the Saints.